We all want to get more done and be more productive. So what we do is we work for longer hours, we add more to our to-do lists, and we just try to squeeze more out of every day by just doing more and more and more. But at some point, more stops helping and it actually burns you out and makes you less productive. Let me explain. In this video, I'm going to break down the 3 main ideas that are going to completely change and rewire how you view productivity. And these 3 main ideas have improved my productivity tenfold. So these 3 ideas are more, enough, and mastery, and they all build on top of each other. And the thing is, productivity is so much more simple than we've been thinking this whole time. So take out a notebook just like this and write some notes, because information without implementation is just productive procrastination. So this is not another video you just watch for fake productivity. This is an actual video that will change your life if you implement the lessons. Now let's start. Part number 1, more, always more. Now there's just this endless loop of just like wanting to do more and work longer hours, and that does nothing and it doesn't even help you. I'm gonna break down the main productivity things that I learned from people who are very, very successful. Because trust me when I say this, the people at the top, the people who are making millions and they're so successful, they don't work as hard as you think. They're actually so good at prioritizing, they're so good at managing their time and being smart with how they work and not working hard. As you probably know, working hard does not equal more success, more results. You could be working hard on the wrong things with the wrong intention and energy. So the whole goal is not to work harder, it is to work smarter. And that includes relentless time management, better habits, and these simple and foundational productivity strategies that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. Because the truth is, the work never ends. It always expands to the time you give. Before I get into the first actual strategy, I need you to understand Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law states that if you give yourself 3 days to complete a task, it's going to take 3 days. If you give yourself 3 weeks, it takes 3 weeks. So chances are with everything that you do, you are giving yourself too much time, and that's the main problem. That is why you work long hours, try to be productive, but at the end of the day, you don't achieve as much as you wanted to. So the first strategy, number 1, is plan tomorrow today. Basically, keep your notebook just like this in front of you. Write down a list of your top 6 tasks and check them off day by day, thing by thing. Every single day, your main objective is to have this in front of you. Chances are you work on your desk most of the time. So you want to have this in front of you, have like 5, 4, maybe 6 tasks, and you just want to check them off and work through them one by one every day. It's as simple as that. You don't need a complex system. You just need something as simple as a notebook and a pen or paper. Now, this is something even millionaires do. They always plan tomorrow today. They keep it simple. They understand their biggest needle movers and they just get to moving. Now, the second strategy goes like this. You want to create a shut-off routine after 6 p.m. Now, this is a classic from Deep Work by Cal Newport. Very simple, just don't work after 6 p.m. And the reason for this is because if you have all day to work and be productive, it's going to take all day. There's no time limit, there's no pressure. So you're just going to float around, get distracted, scroll your phone, and do random meaningless tasks. But if you know that you have to finish at 6 p.m. sharp, then you are not going to waste your time before that. And now the third key strategy over here is very simple. You need to realize that focus and distraction cannot coexist. You're either distracted or you are focused. You are never both at the same time. So what this means is that if you have constant distractions, like you have your phone next to you on your desk, you have like 10 tabs open, you don't even know what to do when you start working and you want to actually be productive. So you basically have no clarity about what you want to do. You have your phone, you have tabs, notifications, distractions. Your mind is not even in the right place. And then you ask yourself, why am I not able to focus? And that's the thing. Focus is not a mystery. You just need to remove all distractions and then you'll be left with no choice except to focus. If there were 0 distractions in your environment, on your desk, then like focus would just be the next natural thing. The reason why focus is hard and productivity as well is because you have so many options. You can go for entertainment, you can, order some food, you can check your phone, you can check your emails, you can respond to messages, go on social media. There are so many options, but when you reduce and remove all of the options and eliminate all distractions and just focus on what's in front of you, that changes everything. Now, those are 3 main strategies, and now I'm going to go into the even more advanced productivity mindset. And I want you to take your notebook and try this. So the next time you have a deep work session, the next time you need to be productive, do this. Before starting the actual task, decide exactly when you are going to stop. Decide on a finish line and just work until that finish line. And even when you feel like you need to do more, or you feel like, you want to do more, you just stop there. You see, you think that you're doing more and you're doing better by putting in more hours, but more hours is just more comfort because you don't have to face the tough reality of productivity. What I mean is that maybe working long hours is just a form of escaping the fact that you could be doing things more efficiently. The fact that you could actually finish a whole day's work in just a couple of hours. That is the truth. You don't need many hours to actually get work done. You just need the right hours. You need quality over quantity. So instead of just thinking about, I just need to work harder, I just need to put in more reps, work longer hours, ask yourself this important question. With your business, with your career, with your work, whatever you do, ask yourself, what actions change the actual result, right? There's definitely something that is going to give you better results, and that's what you have to focus on, the needle movers. Anything else is just fake productivity. Anything else doesn't really belong in your time and energy and schedule. Now let's get into the last principle before we go on to part number 2. And this is task stacking. You see, the biggest thing that harms your productivity is actually so simple. It's been in front of you this whole time. This is unfinished tasks. These are open loops. Think about a computer, right? If you have 1,000 open tabs, then it's just gonna slow down your computer, drain more battery, and just make your computer slower. And even a really good computer, if you have so many tabs open, it's just gonna get harder to like operate the system. And your brain is the same as a computer in that sense, where it's like right now you're trying to be productive, but in your mind you have like 10 unopened things, 10 unfinished things. You have the conversation unfinished, the bill unpaid, the thing that you wanted to do but you didn't do. You have all these things that are just like draining your mental energy. So I want you to do this exercise with me before part number 2. Take out your notebook and write down a heading called open loops. And underneath this heading, you want to start listing out things that come to mind when we're talking about open loops and an open tab. What could be something, like what could be an open tab in your life that is actually distracting you more than you think? Now, you probably know Chris Williamson, and he had this amazing quote where it's like, the magic you were looking for is in the work you were avoiding. Now, what this actually means is when you do the one thing that you've been avoiding, this unlocks your productivity. I remember there was a week that I was just not productive at all. I was just like, I couldn't focus. I couldn't get work done. I would sit at my desk and just achieve nothing. So what I did was I just took out my notebook and I wrote down open loops, and I just started listing out the things that were draining my mental energy. And there was one project in particular, which was editing a certain video that wasn't like the main video on the YouTube channel, but it was more like a video for the landing page. And this was something I just, I don't know, pushed off for weeks because it wasn't urgent. But as soon as I just broke the ice and I did that one thing, after I did that thing, I just felt this massive weight being lifted off my shoulders. For some reason, I just felt so light. I felt so energized after finishing this thing and closing this open loop. And after that, I'm telling you, like for the next 3 weeks, I was like super focused and laser sharp and like super productive. It's amazing. So list out all of your open loops: the conversation unfinished, the bill unpaid, the person you wanted to talk to but you didn't talk to, the project that you started but you didn't finish, the thing that you had on your mind but you didn't do, the trip that you were planning for weeks but you just didn't commit to and follow through. There are so many things right now that could be holding you back. So you're going to want to write them down and start closing these open loops one by one. Now, if you want to be more productive, you want to build better habits and build more discipline, then you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel for weekly self-improvement, productivity, discipline videos. I'm telling you, these videos are going to help you, especially if you're taking notes and implementing into your life. Part number 2, enough. You need to define what enough and what done actually means. If you don't have like a limit to how much you can achieve and how much work you need to do, then you're just going to keep working yourself till burnout. So instead of letting the work expand indefinitely, set a block, set a start point and an end point. Choose the small number of things that actually matter, and then everything else, don't give it time. There's going to be tasks that, you know, are like admin work, shallow work, things that don't really matter. But these things, you might have to do them. Just don't give them more time. Don't give them more than an hour of your day. This shallow work, everything that encompasses, you know, shallow work, admin work, random tasks, you just need to put it into a time block of 1 hour and just finish everything then and there. A lot of the times, shallow work is going to expand and like take out a couple hours of your day. And then the actual deep work that matters starts to reduce and you start doing less and less of it. And as a result, you get less results, and then you're surprised, like, I'm working so hard but I'm not seeing results. I'm not seeing my income change. I'm not seeing freedom and just like results and growing and whatever. Because if everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. That is something so crucial to understand. When you think about productivity, you're probably thinking, how do I do more? But the actual simplicity and art of productivity is just asking yourself this question: how do I do less and achieve more? That is the main question that is going to change your life. You need to go through the process of eliminating things, of like removing things from your life. As much as you want to think that you have unlimited brain capacity and like focus points and, you know, brain points, we all are humans and we all have limited mental focus and capacity. Like you can only focus for a certain number of hours on a certain number of tasks before your brain just like doesn't have the energy to focus for longer. Like you have a capacity, you have a bottleneck that you have to understand and actually use to your advantage. So always do your hardest task of the day first. Create more than you consume because that gives you more mental energy and clarity. Always write down all of your tasks, the most important things. A lot of things in your life you were spending time on, you were spending energy on. Like you might be doing random side quests, but you just have to ignore things. You need to learn the art of like ignoring certain things in your life that don't help you get to your goal. A lot of people are going to spend time doing this. You know, they have like 1,000 side quests and they wonder why they're not making progress in one single thing. Now with YouTube and growing on YouTube, for a year and 2 years and maybe even 3 years, I just like did nothing else except post videos and focus on YouTube. Like I'm telling you, I would not be here if I had focused on so many other things. I gave up so many things, so many like random side quests that I just wanted to do just to focus on one thing and build myself and stack skills in that area. Now, when you're doing so many things, you're making a little bit of progress here, a little bit of progress here, a little bit of progress here, and you're just like stacking 15%, 10%, 20%, 15% across so many different areas. But if you just had the discipline to do single things, like one single thing, then you would stack vertically and you would reach the top. Instead of having 15% across multiple areas, you now have 80% in one domain. Now, this is the saying that goes, a jack of all trades is a master of none. Now, before we go into part number 3, which is about mastery, I want to leave you with this last thing. You need to pace yourself properly. Think about a marathon. Productivity is just the same thing as like a marathon or race. You are only gonna make it to the end if you pace yourself. If you have a long marathon and then you just keep sprinting at the start and you just gas out and you don't have energy because you're exhausted because you didn't pace yourself, you're not gonna be able to finish the race. Now, productivity is a marathon, it is not a sprint. Because sure, you could be productive and work 12 hours a day for a couple of weeks, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna get burnt out and you're gonna stop. Instead, why don't you work properly and efficiently, work 5-6 hours a day, and then actually reset so you can do this for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. Of course, I'm not telling you to work less, otherwise I'd just be like eliminating the competition. I'm telling you to work smarter and also just adjust your pace. You know, like you don't have to be going so fast because that actually burns you out a lot of the times. You just have to slow down to a pace that you can hold for like years. So I want you to try this for one single week. Track and monitor and audit when you have the most energy and also when you have the least energy. And then you want to start scheduling your hardest work, your most biggest tasks for the times when you have the most energy. A lot of people approach productivity in the wrong way. When they have the most energy, they do random things, they do meaningless tasks. And then when they have the least energy, they start to sit down and they want to do the most hardest, most important task. You need to respect that you have energy, peak energy and focus hours. Those hours of the day, they need your biggest attention and you need to do your biggest and most important tasks in those peak energy hours. For me, the peak energy hours are in the morning between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. That is when I'm most focused. That is when I will have a coffee. I'll sit down to work after meditating and reading. And that is when I'm just most productive. That is when my mind is like so sharp. That is when I can focus and concentrate the best. So you need to do your hardest tasks of the day when you have the most energy. Now comment down below, what are those things that are stealing your energy and your time? What is that one thing that if you remove that from your life, you would be more productive? Part number 3, mastery. So I want to talk about 4 things. Number 1 is making fewer decisions. There is something called decision fatigue, which means that there's a certain number of decisions you can make before you stop making right decisions and good decisions. So create systems for yourself so you don't have to keep making the same decisions every single day. So find one decision that you make every single day and just make it once, create a system around it and stick to that. For example, same breakfast, same workout time, same place to start the work, same routine. This removes decision fatigue. Number 2, getting better at the thing itself. Productivity eventually stops being about time management and becomes more about actually energy management. It is actually getting better at the thing that you're doing. So instead of asking, how can I do this faster? Whether that's responding to clients, whether that's outreach, whether that's making content, whether that's editing, filming, instead of asking yourself, how can I do it faster? Spend 30 minutes every single week getting better and better and better. The better I got at video editing, the more productive I was. The better I got at filming these videos, the more productive I was, the more efficient I was. Number 3 is knowing what to ignore. Mastery is the ability to recognize what is important and what is not. And it is having the discipline to remove everything that does not align with your master goal. Every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something that could be happening in that same time. And the opposite is also true. Every time you say no to something, you are creating space to be able to say yes to something in that time. Now, every time you say yes to something, ask yourself, what am I saying no to? Understand with every decision you make what you are sacrificing and what you are giving up. And number 4 is making the hard things simple. Now, the one thing I return to when everything gets hard, when life feels confusing, is just simplicity. Simple scales and fancy fails. Now, what this means, right, is that if you're ever in doubt, just ask yourself, how can this be as simple as possible? A lot of the times you don't need a complex answer. You don't need a complex system. You just need to just go back to the basics. So everything from productivity to deep work to the habits, make it as simple as possible. Even your business, make it as simple as possible. And most importantly, when something feels hard, when something feels difficult, and when something feels overwhelming, reduce it to the next physical action. You shouldn't be thinking about, deep work or build a business or scale my business. These are very vague. Instead, focus on the next thing. Open the document, film the video, do the outreach, send the emails, make the cold calls. A lot of the times in business and life with productivity, with your work, what happens is you just get overwhelmed. And when you are overwhelmed, that is when procrastination comes in. So as soon as possible, you need to gain clarity on what you have to do, on what that means to scale your business, to get to the next step, to increase your income and build better habits. Right? What does that mean? You need to get very clear on what productivity means for you. Now, productivity is a very, very vast topic, and there are so many ways to maximize it. Now, what we do inside the discipline mentorship is we focus on the productivity strategies, and then we also pair that with discipline and identity. Now, inside the discipline mentorship, we actually teach and use a bunch of these productivity strategies. And what we do is we help ambitious entrepreneurs and professionals maximize the time that they have, master time management, and achieve the top 1% level of productivity by building the discipline systems and changing their identity so that the work actually becomes easy. Now, the discipline mentorship is going to be personalized help with myself alongside group coaching and weekly calls. Now, there's a link below. You can apply to the discipline mentorship and book a call. My team and I will see if the program is actually something that is the right fit for you. And if it is, we will onboard you and get started. Remember, nothing changes if nothing changes, and your level of success never exceeds your level of discipline. Take care, and you got this.